Well, it's felt like a hell of a long time since we've been able to celebrate, hasn't it? Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. You've joined us for the match preview of West Ham United versus Nottingham Forest. The definition, for me, in my opinion, of a 6-pointer, whether it's for both sides or not. We'll get thoughts on that in just a second. I hope you are all well. Apologies for the slight lateness, but I hope everybody is keeping well. I've got a Forest fan joining me to discuss all things Nottingham Forest ahead of Saturday's game. Richard, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, well, West Ham boys has not been great, but yeah, not too bad. Not too bad as well. I see who we've got in the chat. Tom, hope you are even, Jacob Rich. Huge game Saturday. It certainly is. It's massive. Covered by cats. It feels like every game has been do or die, and yet we don't put the ball in the net. It's worrying. We've got plenty to discuss, that is for sure. Zach, hope you are well, my friend. Lawrence as well. James as well. Sharky says we need to win Saturday. A draw simply won't do. Now, in terms of your perspective from the Forest side of things, this is absolutely massive for West Ham. Is this game sort of given the same stature for your boys?
Possibly not. I think looking at one of the comments there, I think the draw would do us, would keep you at arm's length. I think it's more important for you to get the 3 points than it is us at the moment, even though it would drag us closer to relegation. I think we've got that little bit of a buffer, which helps.
Yeah. And I think since that, am I sort of right in saying that you've been near the top of that form table since we come back from the World Cup? Obviously, you were down in that relegation zone going into that, I think, and now up in 13th, 5 points, 5 points above the drop zone. Have you seen a big sort of change since coming back from the World Cup? What sort of flicked the switch, do you think?
Well, I think it was just before the World Cup it changed. I think after the beating by Leicester, I think Steve Cooper realised he had to tighten things up a little bit, which I think he's done. Sorry. So I think we're a bit tougher to beat. My only problem is, from what I've seen of us, we sit a little bit deep and allow teams to have the ball, which is all right. But if you haven't got the ball, you're not scoring goals yourself, are you?
Know how it feels, because we do exactly the same. And I think I could get the feeling that this could be a more of a sort of nervy, edgy game where two sides that, and to be fair play to Forest, sort of getting on the up, but we're at pretty much rock bottom at the moment. And I think that's surely got to play into Forest's hands, and coming down, we are the team that everybody's looking at right now. If you pick up something, it'll be an added bonus to us, but the pressure's on us now, because everybody's been sort of realising over the last few weeks, they're down there for a reason, West Ham. We definitely are, and the pressure is massively on us on the team, and it being at home as well, I don't think helps us massively, because it could be a little bit toxic and nervy and not very nice in there. And I think that's all sort of factors that play into Forest's hands. If you do come down and attack us early, I think you'll have some joy.
Well, I think we're quite good at nicking something on the break as well. I think you've got to come out at us, really. I don't think you can afford to sit back. I think you've got to. But the thing with West Ham is they're one of those teams, aren't they, that fall into that, you're too good to go down sort of thing. There's a team every season that gets that moniker. And I think this season it's you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. We sort of in the early stages. I think we lost away to Everton, and people were starting to go, it's not looking good. And all the pundits too good to go down, and especially in the last few weeks in some games where it did look like we turned the corner slightly, a couple of decent draws, but I mean, some of the football we've been playing has just been not good enough at all. And it sort of resonated in some of the comments in the chat. I'll read some of them out now. But firstly, I'd like to send my condolences, and I'm sure Rich will back me up, to John Motson's family today. Obviously, after we heard the news of John Motson's passing a little bit earlier on today, took many people by surprise. A voice of football for many years. Many people will agree with that. And we send our condolences. A footballing great in terms of commentary left us today, and we send our condolences over. Any sort of memories? And David says, John Motson, rest in peace. Favourite moment, Rich?
Oh, I can't really remember any, to be honest. I mean, there's been so many commentators over my time. I mean, just sort of grew up listening to him, really.
Yeah.
He was there. I think he did. Was it 10 World Cups he commentated on? And
Yeah.
so
I think I heard earlier he's commentated on over 2,500 football games,
yeah,
which is pretty
yeah.
incredible.
He
And
was sort of part of the furniture, wasn't he? Really. So
yeah, definitely. So yeah, unfortunate news of his passing a little bit earlier on today took many people by surprise. Peter, hope you're even all Forester favourites for me, and it's just sort of going through the fan base where there isn't any expectation there, because we've been that bad. And we went to Spurs last weekend, and we always seem to turn up against Spurs, and we did early on, but the game plan just seems to be very much to defend. And we had 3 games against Newcastle, Chelsea, Spurs, bigger sides, which we weren't really expected to pick up anything against. And David Moyes went just to defend and try and get the point out of it. Now, I'd like to think that the tactics might alter for a home game against a Nottingham Forest side, but tactics just haven't been going the way. And I do think if Steve Cooper gets it right, then I think you will pick something up, and I think you'll have some joy.
I think Steve Cooper's proven that he's quite good at altering tactics, not just before the game for each particular team, but during the game as well. As needed, he's altered it, and it's got us a result.
Yeah.
Particularly particularly the weekend. I mean, I didn't expect anything out of that game at all.
Yeah, and I think it just shows the fight as well out of it, to get a point against Man City. And it set a statement to the other sides down there that, we haven't been standing up and going at these sides, and you managed to get a point out of Man City, which is very, very good. And I think that just shows the progress you've made. Now, there was a lot of criticism. You've came on here and sort of been a little bit apprehensive towards the amount of signings you've made. Are you now seeing the quality coming through with some of them, obviously with the uprising form?
No.
Oh,
no, I still think we're in the same boat, really. I think
right.
With injuries, got a lot of injuries at the moment. Aurier's injured now as well for a month, I think. And with other players we've brought in January, I still don't think we've seen the same team 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
And that might be a bit of an Achilles heel for us. I think we're not entirely settled as of yet.
No.
Which is a long way into the season to not be, to be honest.
Yeah. I saw a sort of injury list earlier on, and there was plenty of names on that list. One name that was there as well, which West Ham fans might be a little bit more thankful about, is of course Jesse Lingard. Would you expect him to make any sort of involvement from what you've sort of heard?
I don't know if he's ready to play at all yet at the moment. He's not really. I mean, if we're honest, he's not really delivered that much. I don't think it's a big miss for us, him not being there, if I'm honest.
Has he sort of under sort of performed, and has the Forest fans been pretty underwhelmed since he came to the club?
No, I think they're sort of with him really, but I just don't think he's not brought what we all thought he was going to bring.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's there for the team. He fights for the team. He plays. When he's on the pitch, he gives it all, but he's not quite delivering with the assists or the goals, which is what he's there for, really.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair enough. Let's have a look at some more of your comments then. Jay says, I'm actually very, very, very worried now in regards to staying up. Now, there's been leaks from, sources, whether they're true or not, that this is the game for David Moyes. Now, if we do get beaten, then the board will seriously consider relieving Moyes of his duties. It'll be typical now. We're going to scrape a 1-1 or a 1-0 win to keep Moyes in his job. But, it's an incredibly difficult time for the club as we head into 2 games a week. Again, we've got some FA Cup action, we've got some Europa Conference League action coming back, which may or may not be a welcome distraction from what's been a pretty horrific Premier League campaign so far. But yeah, it is crunch time, and we looked, we beat Everton, which was the last sort of 6-pointer that we had around the sides around us. We beat them, and then we went into those 3 games not expecting much and really focusing on this game at home against Nottingham Forest. And it's definitely our biggest game of the season, and it's just whether we stand up and whether that Nottingham Forest side come down. And I don't think you'll at all cause an upset. I think you'll, if you do beat us, there won't be any surprise, certainly within the West Ham fan base. I think that's something you've got to take, coming down.
Are some of the West Ham fans in the position where you sort of want to lose to get rid of Moyes, or because the trouble is, there's nobody around, is there, at the moment?
No, because Leeds have sort of had the same issue where they got the former Watford manager, but it took a couple of weeks for them to get a replacement for Jesse Marsh in, and I think that's the real issue with it now. If you asked West Ham fans, there'd definitely be a percentage that would, want us not to pick up anything if it meant that David Moyes, or if it resulted in David Moyes losing his job, because I think many people, and to be fair, you've got to agree with them, that can't see David Moyes turning this around. And it's been like this for a long, long time. It was like this towards the back end of last season. It was sugar-coated over with a brilliant European run. But there's been problems there in the Premier League for a lot longer than what pundits say or what other people say, and people who watch us week in, week out can see that, the football we're playing is absolutely atrocious. And I think if you asked the West Ham fan base, a quite a large percentage would say if it meant that Moyes gets sacked, then we'd have to do what we'd have to do. So, yeah, it's in that sort of situation now where it's time for him to go. But the board's, I think Moyes is, he's quite well liked within the board. They don't really want to upset him by sacking him, because Moyes is sort of in a parallel universe where he thinks everything's rosy and is okay, and it's clearly not within the fans. And it could turn things nasty, which is of course not what anyone wants. We're definitely not West Ham fans. So yeah, we're in that sort of situation which could play into Forest's hands.
Yeah, possibly. You're only one game away from getting a run together, aren't you? So you just never know. It's so tight down there. I mean, we're not that great all the time. There's moments during games where we look really good, but other moments where we just look like headless chickens. And I think a lot of that's down to the number of players that have been brought in and injuries. But there's a good team spirit there, which is half the battle, really, I think.
Yeah. No, for sure. Sharky says, I saw Adam Frankel mention the other day he doesn't like that saying. Yeah, probably he doesn't like the do or die saying, probably, for West Ham. But anyway, we're going to go with it. David says, favourite motto, England win, 5-1 in Germany, West Ham win the FA Cup in 1980. There we go. Peter, 6 point doesn't make sense. Well, you know what I mean, Peter. You know what I mean. Lawrence says, we need goals, period. I'm sick of our finishing. And there's so many fundamental issues there with that West Ham side, is that we sit so incredibly deep. We're playing a sort of back 3/5, whatever you want to call it. We sit so deep. There's gaping holes that if you've got a bit of pace, whoever's got a bit of pace is going to have an absolute field day against us, because there's so many gaps in midfield if we play the same sort of way. And it's just, can you see many people sort of...
So Brennan Johnson for a couple of goals in the weekend, you think?
You reckon? Yeah. If he's got pace, and he's got a bit of skill, and he's got a good ball through, then I think he'll have some joy for sure. Now, of course, last time out between the two sides, we met up at Nottingham Forest, where flipping out that day. Back in August, I think it was Forest's first game back in the Premier League, and Forest did come out 1-0. First home game, sorry, first home game back in the Premier League for Nottingham Forest, and it was an amazing atmosphere out there at the City Ground, and you came out 1-0 victors. I still don't quite know how, but you've got to take some confidence in the fact you've beat us early on in the season, and you could quite easily do the double over us.
Yeah. I mean, I know how you felt about that game on the day, but it is what it is, isn't it? You've got to. That's part of the trick of staying up, is taking these results when you're not playing particularly well.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And I think coming into this game, there was a sort of expectation where we didn't quite know what sort of Forest side were going to come out. We didn't know what to expect with all the signings made, and we didn't know what to expect with us, obviously, after that amazing season before. And fair play to you. And it was, the fans that day for Forest deserved that win, because I thought they were excellent. It's definitely the best home atmosphere I've ever heard. There isn't much competition in the Premier League, but it was definitely good. And we just hope that we can turn up and hopefully just put in a performance, and the results all that matters. And in this business and in the situation that we're in, it doesn't particularly matter too much about the performance. It's all about getting the points on the board and getting to that 40-point mark.
That's the shame about it, isn't it? Really, because you want to see your team play good football.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, it's getting over the line, isn't it, at this stage?
Yeah, it's just getting there, and that's what we're sort of failing to do and win games. Danny, I hope you are well. Skamaka and Ings would be my pairing for Saturday. No way, Sharky is Moyes playing two strikers up front. That is a little bit too adventurous for him, just a little bit. Lawrence, hope you're well, my friend. David says, think second day of Moyes depends on what side he announces at 2 p.m. and what the mentality and tactics are going into it, because he can't go with the same negative, let's try and get a point out of it, as he has done in recent weeks. So it's going to be really interesting at 2:00 to see what sort of lineup and what perspective Moyes has on the game, because we've got to win, and it's as simple as that. Joe's got a question for you. How has Navas looked playing for Forest so far after his January transfer move to the City Ground?
Oh, he's been incredible. I think he's probably won us a few points, to be honest. When Henderson was injured, I thought, but I mean, he's quality. He's pulled off some really good saves, kept us in games.
Yeah,
and I mean, that's how Brian Clough used to build his sides, from the back with a decent keeper, and then went forward from there. He's been really good, really good.
No, I think when it was announced, was it towards the end? Was it like day before or deadline day or something around there? I don't know, but when he signed, I thought, yeah, it's a good signing. It's a good keeper. You know what you're going to get. It's going to be quality, and I think it was a good buy for Forest. And
the rumours were there for a while, I think.
Yeah.
But it was sort of touch and go right to the end.
Right. Yeah. I see.
Yeah. No, it's one of the really good signings. I think there'll be a lot of players that disappear in the summer, if I'm honest. But that's what happens, isn't it? You sort of you take a lot out of the pot and shake it around and see who's the best. And even now, players that we brought in have been sort of left by the wayside, not made the squad that we brought in the summer.
But definitely, with the amount of players there, it's a difficult job for a manager to sort of juggle it and find the right side. And if you say he hasn't found that right side yet, to be fair, I don't blame him, because the amount of players that are there, he's got to give everybody a chance, and it's working relatively at the moment. I'm picking up points, but yeah. I'm interested to see what sort of Forest side come out on Saturday. Before we carry on, I'd like to thank our sponsors right here on West Ham, unofficial SRM Carbon and Sun. Check them out, link in the description down below. And our sponsors through February and March, Manscaped. Check them out in the description down below as well. Use the code West Ham unofficial 20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. For products like the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker, all of your below the waist and above the waist grooming, you can check out Manscaped by clicking the link in the description down below. Help the channel out massively if you use that code, so please, if you can, do just that. Let's take some comments. Peter, any update on the Poch rumour, or is it fake news? Listen, Peter, I know as much as you do. I presume it's fake news, but funnier things have happened. David says same loyal players start: Fabianski, Souček, Bowen, Antonio, and we've got to see a shift in that, and you can. Us as West Ham fans can clearly pick out their players we'd prefer to see. Areola over Fabianski, Downs over Souček. Bowen, you'd say, have to stick. You've got Skamaka and Ings coming back as well, which could replace Antonio. It's just whether Moyes has got that proactive mindset to change things, which we desperately need. Lawrence says, big up the under-18s. Yes, we made it through to the FA Youth Cup semi-final last night. A bit of joy in the West Ham world. We haven't had a bit of that for a while. John Tacoma from Football London provided us with a couple of updates on the channel last night exclusively, so you can go and check them out on the channel. Preview and review of last night's affairs at Portman Road when we beat Ipswich in the FA Youth Cup quarter-final. First time we've got this far in the competition since 1999, where we won the thing with Michael Carrick and Frank Lampard, Joe Cole and co. Navas was a good signing, and everybody could pick it out and say that it was a good signing, and fair play for getting him in. Covered by Cat says, can we win and still sack him, please? Well, that would be the perfect scenario, but I just can't see it. That under-18s game was much harder than it should have been, considering Ipswich were down to 10 members. So wasn't quite near our best, were we, Peter? But we managed to get through, and that's the main thing. Marshall played well yesterday. Ipswich youth team put in a real shift, to be fair, they did. Yeah, definitely hope Scarl's injury isn't as bad as it looked. Hopefully not. Budgie, hope you well, mate. Hey, everyone, just popped in to drop a like or two, busy at the moment, but listening. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Jay says, I think it's quite clear and obvious to see how the tactics are wrong, a different formation, and utilise all the star players and just be a bit more attacking. a bit more, go for it a bit more, and actually look like you want to win the football match and not just get a 0-0 draw and point out
Has
of
he
it.
ever been like that though, Moyes? That's the thing, isn't it?
It's just so frustrating that we've got so many good players there, and it's just completely not working. And whatever Moyes does at the moment, it's not going well. And that sort of resonated with the fan base, wanting him to be sacked. Miss Hamrat, hope you are well, and everybody else saying hello to each other in the chat as well. So injuries, you mentioned it there. You've got a few Premier League players or Premier League proven players, like you mentioned, Serge Aurier, Jesse Lingard, and any players that are fit you think we should look out for in terms of attacking threats or defensive sort of stability? Who should we look out for?
I think the two you're going to have to keep an eye on is Gibbs White and Brennan.
Yeah.
They're really quick, good on the ball. Gibbs White can see a pass. He seems so difficult to get off the ball as well. He's just an incredible little player, and people were balking at the money we paid for him. But I think when you look at modern day football, it's a bit of a bargain, really. Even 35 million these days is sort of what you need to be spending minimum, really, I think. In all honesty, you need 2 or 3 players like that in your team when you're down where we are.
Yeah.
Midfield, who knows what midfield he's going to pick? It seems to change week in, week out. I quite like the look of Gustavo Scarpa. He seems quite good on the ball. Danilo looks quite good. Freuler's steady. I think it will be Freuler and Danilo might start. Depends if Yates is fit. I don't think he is. I don't really rate Yates. If I'm honest, I'm in the 50% that don't. Of Forest fans, the other 50 love him. I think the defence will pick itself because most of them are injured. So it'll be Felipe, Worrell, Lodi, and Nico Williams, I imagine, at the back.
Yeah, so a couple of key players you identified there, and Morgan Gibbs White is one I wanted to come on to because, Forest got a lot of stick and a lot of criticism for spending that sort of money, but, I can't say I watch Forest week in, week out, but I can see that, he's made some progress there and he's improved your team and style of play.
Yeah, he gets hold of the ball, he picks a pass, I think you could offer him a bit more in front of goal, possibly. Because we are lacking there ourselves, really. We're not sort of banging them in left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
I was a bit disappointed with the Wood signing, but I sort of can see why we did it. Our main striker's out injured, and I was just disappointed that we ended up paying so much for him, really, because he's never really been that prolific.
Do you think
he got the goal Saturday.
Panic buy to get somebody in.
Yeah, he got the goal Saturday, and if that's what he does and keeps us up, then it's money well spent.
Yeah, oh, definitely. You've got to take sacrifices, and there's sort of different ways that clubs, take the sort of coming up to the Premier League. They either try and keep it as same as possible, or go out and just spend every single penny they've got and try and pay their way to safety. And I think you've brought in some very good players, some very recognisable players that have done well. And obviously, of course, it was going to take time for all these players to do well, but and I think you are on the up, and if you can continue some good form, then I think you might just be okay. Looking at recent results and where you are on the table. Sharky says in regards to 9 potential defensive players, that is, honestly, we could literally end up, and this might shock you or not, we could end up with 2 attacking players on the pitch at home to Nottingham Forest, and that's absolutely no disrespect to Nottingham Forest, because we'd probably do it for the absolute rest of the season now. To every single team, try and stink it out, try and get a 0-0, nick it 1-0, and that's just not the way we want to be doing things with the side we've got there.
I mean, you'd rather go down fighting, wouldn't you, than just sit back and fade away, really.
Sit back and let it happen and let it drizzle out in front of our eyes. It's just, it's what it is. But
Southampton and Bournemouth are still in the league, so
interesting. Gibbs White versus Rice could be a good midfield battle. I can see the midfield being a massive sort of area for the game being won or lost for either side.
Yeah, no, I mean, could be Rice's last season, can it? So
will be Rice's last season
if he keeps you up. helps keep you up, then he's done his job, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good. He'll have to keep Gibbs White quiet, I think.
Mm.
So a lot comes through him, definitely.
He's got his hands full again. Let's start on ITV. Chris, hope you are keeping well, my friend. I'm going for a 7-0 West Ham win. Well, that's that's nice and polite of you. I'm sure that's just your undying love for West Ham United coming through there. That is a good vintage shirt, Richard. I'm liking it. I'm liking the shirt.
Yeah.
Very
Cup
good.
winners, European Cup winners.
Yeah.
Have you got one of those, Jake?
No. I tell you what, we might do. We might do if we pick up some form. We might be the second team to win the Conference League, and we're going to count that as European Cup winners. So
yeah, well, you got to take it, haven't you, when it comes?
Hey, honestly, we haven't won anything for 43 years. If we're going, I'm going to take absolutely anything.
Exactly.
Anything.
Exactly. Yeah. A trophy's a trophy, mate, isn't it?
Yeah. Chris says, "Hi, big up, Rich. Lose to Nottingham Forest, and I'm blocking you." You better get your block button ready, Chris. All right? I've got a feeling. Trini says, "Whether Forest bought all those players there to let something like 17 players go, I think that's I don't think that's far off, and an interesting transition, an interesting way of going about things, Rich. But looks like it's coming good slowly, trickling through. So.
Yeah. I think half the team were loanees, weren't they, from last season, and then the ones we let go weren't even good enough to get in the Championship side. So, hence why we had to pretty much buy a whole new squad.
Yeah,
which we've endeavoured to do, but
Yeah, exactly. Chris is joking aside, great to have Forest back proper derbies again. Well, yeah, because it sort of makes a derby for you like sort of relevant again, isn't it? Because otherwise you've just got to like just try and get down to the Championship to play derby. You can't really count Villa as one, can you? So it's nice for you to have a little bit of a derby, Chris.
I mean, Derby they're League One now, aren't they? So
yeah,
we won't see them for a while.
No. They're coming back. Here we go. Richard, West Ham have won the World Cup. Have you got one of them?
Oh, right. I was thinking, it's funny, I thought about that today. So I thought I was going to get a load of West Ham fans giving me a load of grief on here. Yeah, you can have that one, I suppose. I mean, it's before I was born. So if you're that old to remember it, then crack on.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Right then, so in terms of the West Ham side, obviously I'm sure you don't watch this every week, but you've got a couple of players that you think could danger the Forest side. Rack your brains, because we certainly are this season. Have been great.
Well, I've only caught you in bits and pieces. I mean, obviously Ben Rama caused us no end of problems at our place.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's been playing regularly for you. Has he been a starter on a regular basis? Or?
Yeah, sort of. He's been a little bit in and out, but
yeah, I mean, Ings has always got a goal in him, hasn't he? He's always quite dangerous, is it? If he starts. If I'm honest, I don't know much about. Is Cornet? Is he injured now, or is he? Is he not playing?
Well, we'll see. We'll see what David Moyes says tomorrow in the pre-match press conference. But he's back in training. We were told that he was going to be out for 3 weeks. He's been out for 4 months. But yeah, we've got plenty of injuries there and plenty of players coming back. We're hearing through sources that there could be a chance that we're rushing Kurt Zuma back to fitness and maybe available for this game. If he's fit enough, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see him in there alongside a Gerd and whoever else.
Bowen's always a threat as well, isn't he?
Bowen's a sort of difficult one because he goes through little patches, and he did score a couple of goals a few weeks ago, but it's just sometimes can be a little bit lightweight and can't really impact the game. But he's down to start every week because he's the only sort of right winger we've got, so he'll definitely start. I think I'll bet the house on it. So so he'll start, and hopefully for us he can make an impact, but it's a little bit hit or miss, I'd say. Here we go. Derby who? Chris says, remembering your comments last season, may I ask how you're doing? My neck hurts. Well, to be fair, you might just be pulled back down into it, Chris, so don't speak too soon. You never know. You never know.
I can't remember if Leicester are above us or below us. I think they're below us, I think.
Shall I have a little look? They are 1 point below you. See, I'll tell you what, we're talking about, Nottingham Forest. They could be in, they could still have some relegation fears there. Leicester are 1 point down and in 14th. You're not quite out of it yet, Chris. You're not quite out of it yet. But yeah, it's, there's so many teams down there. It's incredibly hard to sort of predict and try and, get out there. But hey ho, we'll try and see. We'll try and see what will happen. Right, Sharky, I believe you've done something. I'm not quite sure what you've done because it's not showing up on the StreamYard. I'm just going to have a look here. He's gifted one West Ham official membership. He's gifted a membership. I'm not quite sure how that works. Somebody's got a membership. I don't know. Sharky, I'm going to research that and see what you've done. Do you know what you've done? Because I don't know. But thank you very much indeed. It looks like a very, very good gesture. But it does. Sharky, you amaze me. How have you done that? Yeah. Sharky, thank you very much indeed. I'll look into that to see what's going to happen there. You might know, Sharky. You probably know more than I do. But yeah. Chris says it's tight. I predicted for us to stay up, but then I predicted West Ham mid-table. So what do I know? Yeah, exactly. You know nothing, Chris. All you've got is that blooming FA Cup behind you or something in your little Leicester room. What do you know? What do you know? Very good. Very good. So some predictions then. Rich, prediction and goal scorers.
I'm going to go 2-1 Forest. Brennan and Chris Wood.
Yeah.
Score for us.
Brennan and Chris. I'd say what that wouldn't sort of surprise me one bit. I think it's I think if you come out of the blocks early and you get onto us and you shut us up, which isn't the most difficult thing to do in the world, then I think you will have some joy, and I think you've got a big chance of at least picking up a point because we're just so out of ideas at the moment. If you can get at us with a bit of creativity early, I don't think we'll have an answer. And it pains me to say that, but I don't see an answer coming back. And I'm going to predict something positive. I'm going to go for a draw on a. I'm going to go 1-1/1-0 because I can't predict just a draw. I'm going to go 1-0/1-1. That's your heart and head for you. I'm going to go Danny Ings to score, whether it's off the bench or starting for West Ham. And I think it's going to be incredibly scrappy. I don't think it's going to be a hell of a lot of quality. Definitely not from West Ham. No, it won't be the prettiest. There's a reason why the Premier League have kept it as a Saturday 3:00. So yeah, I wouldn't expect too much end-to-end stuff out of it. It could be two teams trying to cancel each other out and get a point. I don't know. It could be interesting. Of course, we'll be up there. On Saturday, we'll have some game day content for you. We'll have some sort of road trip pre-match, of course, our vlog, stadium clips, and reaction in the aftermath, where hopefully we're talking about some sort of positive West Ham result. Here he goes. Look, West Ham bubbles get burst. See, it doesn't like the song doesn't even work. Like if you're gonna make the song up, like make it work. Like come on, come on. See, Sharky, do you even know what you've done? Like, because I don't know. Yeah, all right, Chris. No need to rub it in. No need to rub it in. Peter says, don't know the score, but on current form, can only see a Forest win. 2-1 sounds about right. Wood will score. He loves the goal against West Ham. Yeah, Chris Wood to score. I wouldn't be inclined to disagree with that. I think that could happen. Helen says, don't care what the score is as long as we win. That's all that matters. 2-1 West Ham, says Sharky. Jay says, it's a tough one to predict. I think maybe a draw. West Ham will survive. If we do, it's going to be by the blimmin' skin of our teeth, that's for sure. But yeah, it's going to be by the skin of our teeth. Some final thoughts then. Rich, going into the game, if you were sort of in that Forest dressing room before the game, what would you say to the players and your overall final thoughts?
Well, it's just I think we've got to go for it as much as you have, really. I mean, I hope we don't sit. We hope we don't sit as deep as we have been and just invite teams onto us. Yeah. I mean, every game's a cup final now, and it's a bit of a cliche, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so I think it's just trying to get any positivity out of it for West Ham, and the performance doesn't matter as much. We just need the points. We desperately need to get out of a rot and get some points. Going into a slightly more congested fixture schedule now. Maybe with a welcome break with the FA Cup next week as well. It's just we've got to win. got to win. And, you know, we say these cliche sayings like "just do or die." It's a 6-pointer, but it's true for West Ham. You know, this is absolutely massive because things will turn toxic if we go behind. I can guarantee you things will turn toxic because fans aren't happy as it is, and this is a game we just simply can't afford to lose. We cannot afford to lose. Yeah, I've worked it out, Sharky. I've just gone on there, donated a 1 month membership to Miss Hammer. Thank you very much, Sharky. That's extremely kind of you. And Miss Hammer, welcome to the members club. You now have access to the match day natters in the morning of a match day as well as priority access to questions for our ex-players when we get them on. So yeah, thank you very much, Sharky, for that, and Miss Hammer, welcome to the club. So there we go, Rich. A game where incredibly hard to predict. If there's any more than 2 or 3 goals in it, I will be incredibly surprised. I won't wish you good luck, but I wish you good luck for the rest of the season. Thank you very much.
Well, have a good day. Enjoy yourself, but not too much.
Yeah. Oh, I can guarantee we won't be enjoying ourselves too much if it's anything like it's been lately. But no, we'll try and enjoy ourselves, and hopefully the football is a good 90 minutes out of the day, not a crap 90 minutes like it has been as of late. But yeah, I do hope you stay up, but I hope we win on Saturday. That is for sure. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for watching in the chat. We'll have some sort of content between now and the game on Saturday. So stay tuned, drop a like on the video, subscribe to West Ham Official if you are new. We are edging closer to 4,000 subscribers, so please smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're just over 50 subscribers away. Smash that subscribe button. And Rich, as I said, thank you very much indeed from me. Come on, you minds. We'll catch you soon right here on West Ham Official. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.